Hello, everybody. It's another episode of Comics Della Morte. I'm Ronnie Gunter, Crimson Isle Comics, and my co host, Jason Alexander, Frog Baker Studios. And this is episode 27, The Bone Chilling Stories of the Past. So, pretty much, this is going to be like a origin story of all of our heroes here who have teamed up to pretty much take on Hellraiser and the Bowels of Hell. Which me
Yeah,
personally, I thought this should have took place before the other stories to pretty much set up. Okay, how's this person? How's the priest? Know about Pinhead, and how's this person know about Pinhead? Like, you should have established that in the beginning instead of doing the whole like DC cinematic universe and teaming up and then doing the origin movies after that.
this this is definitely a callback to the prequel. You know, the
Mhm.
zero issue that we did that first day where we did the zero issue and the first issue,
Yeah.
heavy on the preacher. The energy was there again. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It had a lot of that fluidity that zero issue had, which so far is still my favorite.
Oh
Is
yeah.
the zero issue. It was very enjoyable for me.
Mhm.
Again, guys, the artwork in this book is on point.
Yeah,
The whole
I
way.
definitely agree with that.
This was the first one where like the two covers, I wasn't really nuts about the two covers,
Mhm.
but the interiors, the artwork is there 100%. I
Yeah.
love the colors. I love how muted the blues are in this picture in
Yeah,
particular
where the blood literally
against the
sticks
red.
out.
It's like a light, like
Yeah.
the blood looks like a light almost. But I'll let you flesh out the story. I don't want to say
Mhm.
too much, but definitely would have worked better if
If it
this had
started in the
almost
beginning.
been number one.
Yeah. Mhm.
You know,
I
because
definitely agree.
for me, you got to see those character investments that you would have
Yeah.
wanted the way that they shot the issue past, because
Yeah, there
with
was
those
no
close-ups meant
character.
nothing, but
Mhm.
this would have made them mean more.
Mhm. Yeah, there was no character development. You just had these characters thrown in there and didn't know much about them except for they knew each other and they were
Yep.
going like on a freaking mystery machine Scooby-Doo hunt, you
Straight
know?
up. Yep. Yep.
So, yeah. So, like we said, really like this blue and the red really sticks out.
Yep.
And pretty much Hellraiser here, I mean Pinhead, he's pretty much telling his people, hey, the carousel's destroyed and the last thing we have is the box,
Yep.
which and this panel I really like. Yeah, I was able to like bring it up so we can actually view at the panels more.
Yeah.
I love how it's just mostly black and grays, and that's what's so great is that literally the spine of this creature just sticks out so well.
Like, what are they inside? I love it. Like, this is such a cool picture.
What's up, Rudy? But yeah, it's a really cool picture. Like it makes me want to know if it's like a leviathan or some like prehistoric creature. But yeah, it definitely is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It almost looks like one of those I think they were called Leviathans, those big things
Yeah.
that Thanos
Mhm.
used in Infinity War and in
Yeah.
Endgame. Like, it's cavernous. Like, this is the size of like an auditorium,
Hmm.
but there's definitely a spinal cord and ribs right there.
But
But
I love the dialogue. Just I mean, literally, you have Pinhead's preaching to his group, and he's like, "Hell's memory is long, and our torture and the knowledge of the life once lived beneath the sun." And I'm like, just very. And in the days
yeah,
before our flesh was flayed, our bodies anointed. Just really cool stuff.
it's that
The dialogue.
Frankenstein shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
exactly.
it's the same way Frankenstein was in
Hmm.
the Bernie Wrightson book we just did.
Yeah,
But
and
no,
and I love with like uh the his the gash characters, like literally you have just the white background to really bring out how horrifying these creatures look, especially with chatter and the lady Cenobite. And
Right.
with the, with Chatter, it's not a bright colors, but they literally focus on like, okay, let's focus on the one part that's like really horrifying, and just use that red to make Chatter's like mouth just really stick out. It's awesome.
He's like ragu spaghetti sauce with teeth.
Right.
But no, it's like that's what you want.
Exactly.
You know, I enjoyed the art more in this book than I enjoyed the story, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
a lot of the pages I was like sucked into visually,
hmm
but this is
like
a,
i'm not I'm not going to say that Clive Barker isn't a great writer, but kind of hinting at like it's one of those things that I feel he's more better at writing for movies or novels, because sometimes with comic books, if you can't just always have, you know dialogue that really doesn't mean anything, and then just like throw a really awesome looking bloody creature on it to make it always interesting.
so I'll say this. And I don't want to get too far ahead of us.
Yeah.
Um how I've read these books so far,
hmm
because this I'm having a hard time like getting a foothold in this world, because it's so expansive, but it's also so different. You could tell with Blood Realm that you were at the beginning. You know what I mean? So it was easy to kind of catch the beat of Blood Realm. And that's really the only book that I can really compare this to, just in scope and size of the world building that happens. But so I'll read this book like this. I'll read a page, like I'll read, if I was holding this book in my hand, I would read a page front and back. And then I would go back and I would read that. I would read it again, and I would kind of give me a little bit. And I noticed like a couple times doing that through this story, a few times, where I was like, oh, okay, like now I can kind of like understand the world a little bit, because that's all it is for me. Like the things that I don't like is I don't know the rules. So, you know, how, this carousel is eliminated now. Now the only thing that's left is this puzzle box. And they're on the hunt, and he obviously has orchestrated this group from the last issue to gather things, so that it was less effort for him to eliminate what he didn't want to eliminate and to have what he wanted. But there was a point in this book that I didn't really want to read back through, and it took me out of it. And so I understand how this world is very I can understand this world be very marketable in the late 80s, early 90s, as far as movies go. But that being said, it just doesn't I don't feel like it translates, like you were saying earlier. I don't feel like it translates into a comic book for someone like me. For someone who likes comic books that has never watched these movies, this does not port me into this world comfortably. I can't hear you, Ronnie. Or maybe it's just me. No, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hold on. Let me.
Oh, there you are. I hear you now.
All right. So, yeah, just going back to the dialogue, just, I really like what he's saying here. It is fruitless to wonder how this came to pass. History has no place in hell. We live our deaths within a final, unending chapter, unraveling, unfolding forever. And there is no prologue for us but pain. I mean, it's pretty wicked writing there. I mean,
Yeah, it's that new age Shakespearean stuff, you know.
right, exactly.
Yeah, And so, what do you think, Ronnie? You think that they have churches like this, and the churches on Earth are like emulating this, or do you think that they're like, let's emulate what the churches do so they know that we are as devout as what they say they are? Top
I'll
side.
put it as
They
this.
got
I'll I'll put it this way. It's probably one of those things like everything's a foreshadow. You have light and you have the opposite.
this does pull you in to say this is like we're back to the priest now. You know,
Exactly.
even down to Pinhead, like preaching from a pulpit, like we're
Mm-hmm.
back to the priest, and you see how different they are, but how
Yeah.
similar they are at the same time.
Yeah.
So good
So
point.
yeah, so nothing really here. You pretty much like have the just I think it's the boyfriend, I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure, who's just pretty much, at a conference talking about a book he's selling. So nothing too much. But I do like the whole like drawing scene here. You could tell that the front row here is literally like almost every single person is drawn different. And then
I
that's
would
when
almost, I'd almost say like this was kind of like his shout out to
yeah.
cast and crew,
Mm-hmm.
friends, but these all look like different people.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. And it's
But
packed.
yeah, and I just like the fact that it just shows with colors. If you want to focus on your main character, have them in full color and have like the supporting characters just be one shade of color,
How do you make an uninteresting page interesting? There's really
Yeah.
nothing that should hold you on this page, but
Mm-hmm.
the composition is there. Like even down to those windows in the back, like
Yeah, for sure.
how some of them are really dark, but you can see the panes or the frame on a lot of them, and it invests you in this room. Like you feel like this is a real room now.
Mm-hmm.
Also, very fleshed out version of the Leviathan that Pinhead was talking to his two followers at. Like the room dynamics are very, very similar. Like you could scale this room down and you could just immediately put that bone structure right in there.
Yeah. Now at this point,
there's trouble, y'all.
There's that farmer from the beginning who's like working for Pinhead all this time, and he's trying to give this guy a box, and he's just persistent and everything. And you would think it's like, okay, everyone look at him, it's like, why you got a box going on? But
right.
People are just focusing on what this guy has to say. So he's probably a motivation speaker from just the dialogue.
Yeah.
That the sea is a dead sea now, and the tree long since vanished with Eden. I mean, so
he's talking shit just like Pinhead. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
exactly. It just goes back. It just goes back to foreshadowing. The sometimes dark and light imitates each other, but in bad and good ways.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. You sometimes it's surprising where you see the similarities of darkness in light. You know what I mean?
That's why there's not always like just black and white. There's gray areas.
Yep.
So pretty much now we're getting into like the origin stories where literally you have the priest with all those like different tattoos of the cross, of like the Chinese symbols, pretty much all that stuff, and you're going to just have the layout and just just dialogue here. But I love the lighting showing that he's in a dark area, and you just see that little light lighting up like the parts of his face. Just really nice work there.
Yeah, it was the art I really enjoyed. Like, and there was a lot of cues. There's a lot of visual cues that you can learn for horror artwork, like for sequentials in horror.
Well, not even for horror, but like just as a colorist in general.
Sure. Yeah, the colors popped. They did
for sure.
The whole thing. Yeah.
So now pretty much this guy's like talking about it burns, Father, but oh, it burns. Hell isn't flames. You see, it's frost. And, the father's like, what's going on? And literally he opens up and you get literally the origin of the father, and it takes place, Marcus's story, in 1994, Boston, Massachusetts. And if you guys remember from the beginning, after they destroyed the carousel creatures, they put the carousel in this pretty much this I think a locker that had all these different artifacts, and that was actually one of the artifacts in there from the previous story. So, but pretty much, nothing, anything here, just shot of a church from above, not too much detail, but enough to give you that idea of where it's at.
Look at the light. Look at the lighting on those pews real quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's all right.
But like looking at the lighting on these pews, like I told you before, like this is a book that the first book that I was just kind of about.
Yeah.
But don't get it confused with the fact that this art is top, tippy top. The writing is not. The writing is good too. It's just we'll talk about it more as we go. But
yeah, for sure.
The pews look great in that. Like they look like they look photorealistic.
Yeah.
Just from and that's what lighting does. Like if you think that you can just fill a page with black, you can. But this is the reward for doing, for a little bit of care. Same thing we talked about with Gary's book. Like put a little bit of care in it, and like you'll be surprised at what you get out of it. So
yeah. So pretty much now, he's just looking at this, saying curious, and just focusing on the preacher here. But I like how the artist put some of the detail of the stained glass in the back. And I just like the woodwork here for the pulpit too. Just really nice work.
Yeah, you feel like you can run your fingers across this world in places, like you can feel the texture on things.
Yeah, and I could tell you from experienced people, if you think drawing trees are easy, they're not. Bob Ross makes them look easy. especially if you want them to look realistic and not cartoony trees. Yeah. Something like
that
this
last tree gets me every time that he used to do.
Yeah. But I mean, just really cool there. I like the whole glow to the tree, and just really nice effect there. And a really, really nice hand shot of everything. And that's the thing, as a writer and artist that we talk about here on the show, is pretty much find ways to tell a story within the same room. Because he's literally in the main area where he preaches the sermons. Just have different angles and different shots to make that one area look more interesting.
Well, yeah, it's that same thing that Stan Lee was talking to Todd McFarlane about. I don't know if you've seen that video. You probably have.
About having a cup of coffee.
We might have even talked about it on this channel, but nothing on this page except for a cup of coffee and a door knock. And the cup of coffee catches your attention enough to lead your eyes to the door.
Yeah.
Laser fights are easy once you can do that. This page here, I know that I would have drawn that thumb curled around the bottom of this. I'll call it a snow globe.
Yeah.
But it looks so much more realistic because the hand is open. And not only is the hand open, but the thumb is angled the right way.
Yeah.
It just works. Like it's strong art.
For sure.
That's good.
And now he's just like laying here, like thinking about it. Hell isn't flames. And I like here that it kind of sets the tone of like, before it was just like color. Now it's just like almost one solid color except for the red. Yeah. And it kind of gives it that like almost pondering or setting the mood for what he's thinking about.
Right, because even in thought, like he's in the background. Like, even though he's the only character and the only spoken words on this page, the focus is the snow globe. The focus is not him. That's why he's so faded out in the back.
For sure. And then next, you just see water drop onto the snow globe, and you just see it go from like, the yellowish glow to white. And now it's starting to snow. And now you get everything turning into like this blue texture. Really like it. You could see like the shading on his black clothing has like that
Yep.
blue glow, like you would have like old school Venom have like the blue shading. So yeah,
Yeah, or
really
like
cool.
Superman's hair used to be, where it was so
Yeah.
black that you would get
Hmm.
that blue sheen in it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And just, man, really nice work on that Jesus. I mean, he not too much detail, but like just enough to like set that mood. It's like, okay, what's going on with the whole
Yep.
snowdrops, and just really cool stuff. And he's like, it's frost.
And then
And I
what was, yeah, hell's not
Yeah,
burning, and now
right.
it's here in a church.
Like hell hell froze over, but not in the way that you wanted.
Yep.
And now you just see this figure walking towards them, and just really awesome scene with the whole like changing from like a bright yellow
Yep.
to a dark like a cold blue, you know to just show that like almost dead absent feeling.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah.
feel it. Like
Hmm.
you feel it. Like you can feel that door open and that burst of cold that came through this door with this thing attached to it.
Yeah, where it's like, I felt it, and you've done before, where it's like where it's like -10, like below 0 degrees, and like it's cold outside. It's -10, but until that wind hits you, oh, once that wind hits you, you got knocked out. And that's pretty much
I
how
call
like it
I call
was.
that I call that this Thursday today.
Right.
Yeah,
And I
man.
could
It's
imagine.
yeah. It's just that cold. And it's like
Hmm.
to see like this undead thing
Oh
coming out
yeah,
of it. Like
with
what's
the
the
icy
one thing?
heart.
Yeah, what's the one thing that can make you forget that you're frigid cold? And
Hmm.
there it is. Like you would beg to be cold if you saw this thing.
Yeah. Exactly. And I just love the dialogue. Every crystal falling, unique, nothing, repeated, infant. Yeah, just really cool dialogue, but really awesome design for the
Yeah.
monster.
Yep.
With the whole like, you could tell like it kind of has like frostbite on its skin, and then you
Yeah, it's
see
like
like
it
where,
got ripped apart just to get to where it is.
yeah, where like some of the skin is like almost decayed to enough where you see like the bones popping through, and you see
Yep.
like almost like that icy heart. Really nice design.
Yeah.
So even though that sometimes the story might not be so fast paced, when it comes to the monster designs, it's really
It's
cool.
on point.
That
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
on
it's
point.
definitely on point. Like
Yeah.
when you're making a horror comic and you want your monsters or your supernatural scenes to look really horrifying, yeah, this they really do a good job here. So pretty much, the creature's just having dialogue with him, saying, hell is what remains after God fled paradise, neither Lord nor devil, only cold, vacant, lonely void. And, that's some pretty deep shit.
Yeah, and it's like his cadence is so interesting because it's
Hmm.
almost like here's a bunch of words
Yeah.
and you figure out what you want. In my world, it doesn't matter which order these words fall in,
Hmm.
but in your world, I know it does.
But it's kind of almost like a foreshadow, because, I
Yeah.
mean, not even going into like too much detail about his thing. I mean, he was literally thinking there's like, what does it mean that hell isn't made of fire but of ice? So it kind of maybe indicated that this father maybe had that type of like void or cold feeling in his chest, that he really didn't know
Hmm.
if his faith, if he believed in his faith anymore. So it's kind of almost like a foreshadow. That's the way I kind of seen it when I was reading it.
Right.
So
Right. Because it's like, no, there's no, he's basically saying that there's not even right or wrong
mhm.
in hell. It's just empty.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
it's so cold because it's empty.
Hmm. But I mean, look at that. Literally, you could see the snow touching the creature, and you could kind of see steam come off of it because it's one of those, like, it's so cold it burns.
Yeah, you
So
got
I think
fever.
that's what he's literally trying to like indicate, the person that was in the pulpit with him, is that it's so cold it literally burns to the touch. Kind of
Yeah.
like what frostbite feels like, I guess. So
I was gonna say I didn't know you had frostbite.
yeah, I
But
never
no,
had
I know
frostbite.
what you mean
Yeah.
though. Like, even going back, I don't know. Did you ever see The Punisher with Thomas Jane?
Yes.
You
Yes.
remember when he had the
With the
popsicle with
blowtorch.
the guy?
Yeah.
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 And he was like, it's so hot, it's gonna feel cold when it hits you.
Right. Right.
Yep,
But
same
I think
thing.
there's some logic to that.
Sure.
I think that's true from what I read up before.
Yeah. Your body can only process so much information before it's just like, nope.
Shuts
Create a
down.
void. Yeah, create a void where
Mhm.
these sensations would go.
Yeah. But I mean, just going back to the color, I just love how, like, before, you had like the yellow, then it went from like the dull brown to now like the blue, that even though you could see the red and the white uh in the character's skin and hair, it still has that shade of blue at the same time. So yeah,
Yeah.
really nice work there.
Yeah, it's almost like an electric blue.
For sure.
You know.
And now he falls backwards trying to get away from the creature, and he's like, okay, I gotta think fast. I'm gonna pull this lever, and then you see the giant Jesus getting ready to fall onto this creature, while he's just trying to say, join us inside our, unending winter. And then bam, that's some awesome gore effect right there.
Well,
You know,
that is, yeah,
just with
that's
yeah,
no, go ahead, Ron.
that's a dynamic scene right there, I would
Yeah.
say. That yeah.
It's just the red is so striking with how dark it is.
Hmm. Compared
And
to the
then
blue.
right. And it's so because now it's like now you get a glimpse of
Hmm.
what you thought hell was supposed to look like because the
Yeah.
blood is almost flames.
Hmm. For sure. But yeah, really awesome scene. I mean, even if this isn't your cup of tea, this is definitely has like some really cool like death scenes and dramatic scenes, with the whole, like, if you want to see how to draw a really dramatic horror scene, this definitely has some really good parts to it.
For
That's
sure.
if you want
Yep.
to do that. So
Yep.
now the priest is literally just running away, and you could still see that glow all the way in the back from the whole snow globe just
Why did
shining
you bring
on.
that in a church in the first place?
Right? Like, exactly.
That's what I was trying to figure out from the beginning. I'm like, why would you bring this? Like, I mean, yeah, you got faith, but this ain't it. Like,
Mhm.
like there's nothing that comes out of that is going to enhance what you do.
Yeah.
Unless
And it's a
you're
big church too. I
a
mean,
huge
like, with
church.
the church that big, other people might be there, but I guess not. I guess it
No,
was
they
I
don't
guess it was
come
on a
because he brings ancient evil relics to church. They're
right?
like, no, we're gonna go to the church that just does church stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to the church that's trying to open dimensions. Like,
Hmm.
that's why I'm not a Jehovah's Witness no more. No, I'm just not really, but I'm kind of am.
That's awesome. Yeah, now we're just outside, and you could tell it's nighttime just because, like, those dark cool colors. So yeah, just really nice
You nailed
effect
it.
there.
Yep.
It's definitely cool. Almost, yeah, that's the way I would describe it.
This is like those old Robert Ogre pages. Robert
Yeah.
Ogre used to do pages like this. I used to
Hmm.
love seeing when he did his pages like this.
Yeah.
It's that super striking dark with it's all everything is where it's supposed to be. It's just enough
Yeah.
light with the headlights on the car and the tattoo sign. But these
What's up,
colors,
Frank?
Frank, what's going on, man? How you doing? But I don't know. I love the colors, like those Watchmen colors, I call them,
Yeah,
because it's
for
that
sure.
purple and dark blue and gray and gold in the background. It's
Hmm.
just, this guy don't know what to do right now. He's like, should I
Yeah.
get it? I've brought the wrong thing to church, so should I just push all my chips to the table and go get a
Hmm.
tattoo? Is this
Yeah.
car following me? Is this concerning? Is that a
Hmm.
gargoyle? Like, what do I do? His church
Exactly.
is really big in his city though. Like, that's a
And his
big
church
deal
is
there.
right there. It's
It's
literally right there.
huge. Yeah,
You know.
it's huge. I'm
So
kind of
yeah.
weird about that too. Like, I don't feel like I feel like he should have ran away from his church. You shouldn't really assault his. Oh, he did it. He did do it. I forgot.
Yeah. So literally, he's like telling us, like, dude, you're a priest. You sure you want all these symbols? And yeah,
The
literally,
voice of logic.
yeah.
He's
And
like,
he's
dude, what are
literally
you doing?
right. And it's like literally, he's not just getting across, but he's like before you could see like he had like a David Star, any
Yeah,
like a Buddhist symbol, any type of like religious symbol on him, he got. And yeah, just pretty cool
coward.
stuff. Yeah,
A
pretty much.
coward. It's
Yeah.
like, is that guy on the Mummy that had that bag full of like different religious relics, and he's praying to the mummy
Yeah.
and trying to figure out which one to
Yeah.
save.
Benny. He's like, oh, Connor, we got all the
Yeah.
horses. Well, Benny, you're on the wrong side of the river. No, could tell
Frank,
I've seen that movie a lot of times.
your bundles are coming, man.
Hellraiser comic.
This is Hellraiser. This is issue 3.
Yeah, because it was divided up in like different issues, but then they put it together as like volume 1 and volume 2. So there's technically 20 issues to the
Yep.
story. So yeah. Which, after we review the last chapter of this book,
Ooh.
after we review the last chapter of this volume, we're going to not go straight. I don't know if we're going to go straight into like volume 2, because, if you as fans want to like just have us keep on going to finish off the whole storyline, or if you want us to just break it up and go off to other stories and come back to this later, so you're not like growing bored, just, comment in the live chat or just in the comments after the show and let us know. So, because sometimes it could get boring after 20 issues.
For sure. Yeah, it's just, like this is fun. Like this is
Yeah.
a fun channel. Like we talk about some horror stuff, but like this is a fun channel. So we
Yeah.
want to keep it that way. And
Mhm.
I don't know, like this is just one of those stories that, not from like a religious standpoint, so to speak, but just don't really, not
Yeah.
really, I don't really vibe with it. Frank, Hourglass is wrapping up. You will be getting, I think you'll be getting 4, and then 5 is coming soon, and then there's only one more left. But I'm glad you liked that story. That's been a very interesting story to write. So I can't wait to see what you think about it.
And now, like you said, Jason, pretty much being the coward, I saw the devil tonight, except it wasn't the devil of my God. And if that was a glimpse of hell, son, as a priest, I can tell you this: one God won't suffice. So he's literally trying to get
He's
every
like, I
type
gotta
of,
catch them all, baby.
yeah,
I don't, yeah,
exactly. Put every single religious tattoo on me.
whack. You get what
So
you
yeah.
get.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy is nervous. Now look at where he is. Like, look at this guy.
He's swearing in a bar, taking, saying God's name in vain and everything. And Marcus pretty much is like a drunk at this point. And, I wouldn't blame him, because he literally saw like a creature that he couldn't explain.
He brought a snow globe.
Well,
Hello?
someone brought it to him, but still,
you
literally like could have done something about it,
Run away, smash it.
Mm-hmm.
Drop that big cross on it, like you did that zombie.
Yeah, exactly.
You just rolled it right under there.
But I like the colors here, really nice. You know,
It's bar colors.
mm-hmm.
Y'all, don't get me wrong. There's a few more people here now, so I'll say it again. No matter what I have to say about this book, I can't put my finger on it because the writing is solid and the artwork is like above.
Oh, you froze.
Point. The colors pop on every page.
Yeah, for sure.
There's just something, and part of it is like we talked about earlier, the pacing. Like you got taken out of it because this should have been there and some of this stuff should have been back here. But here we are with a priest in a bar with fresh tattoos. He probably shouldn't be drinking alcohol anyway with fresh tattoos, but
no, for sure.
Here he is drinking whole bottles of booze.
And now this is where he meets Christy Cotton, literally in a bar. And that goes with his story on how he came up front with, like, Pinhead's hell and how he met Christy in a bar. So, yep. And now we just go back to the priest at this moment. And literally, I mean, not the priest, the public speaker. Yeah. You there, Jason? Or are you frozen? I think he's frozen. So we'll wait for Jason to come back. Yeah, that's actually one of the characters. You'll find out more about his storyline as we go on. There he is.
Wow.
There you go.
That does look like JFK. You're right.
Right? It does. Yeah.
Okay. Everybody talks the same.
Mm-hmm.
I like it, but for the world that it is, he had something to say.
Yeah.
Clive Barker, guys, like there's no critique that I get to really give Clive Barker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also just not going to black and glaze everything if I don't really rock with it. And I just don't rock with this story, guys. Like this is the first time that I'm not gooey, but there's elements that are still really, really good. So like please, like if you're kind of interested in it, check it out because I'm just one person.
Yeah. So now we're looking at Bethany. So you got literally this book of like all these different women. I mean, come on, all of us are old enough to, like, who hasn't picked up like a phone book back in the day and saw pictures of like, hey, call me for this much money, and then your daddy whips your butt, or you get in trouble with someone because you literally ran up $100 phone bill talking to a girl.
Fortunately, I had too many modesty issues to ever like talk on the phone. I would have crawled inside of myself and died. But no, it's like these were always in the back of the Rolling Stone magazine,
right?
All the local, like those,
or you saw those late night USA TV commercials, like, do you want hot girls? Pick up the phone. Awesome, funny stuff back then. Yeah, that's so. All right. Oh, I think you're frozen up again. You there? Oh, yeah. Gotcha. So pretty much at this point, Bethany, she's out on a date with the older gentleman, just talking about how dinner was lovely. And just, you could kind of sense that she's probably, I'm not going to say like she's, a woman that goes out with men just for money and stuff. But I mean, you could tell that she pretty much probably dates men for the money. I don't know. I mean, that's really hard to tell, because since the beginning of the book, it literally indicated that she was probably one of those like call for like a date ideas. So, don't have no idea, but I just love like the whole rain effect here with the whole like, you could still see the red of the dress, but it has like that yellow light light effect to it. So yeah, really nice work. And now we just see right inside, as there he is.
All right.
All
We
right,
completely reformatted, so that shouldn't be a problem now,
gotcha.
guys. Sorry about that.
But yeah, did you kind of sense, like I was saying with them, that maybe she's like I don't know if you would say a prostitute, because like literally you saw like he was looking in a phone book, and then she was out on a date with him.
Right. Yeah, I felt like she was probably like an escort. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
maybe not like a prostitute,
Yeah,
but
but more
she
of an
definitely like pay for a date.
yeah. But I like here how like they want you to focus on that. Okay, Bethany is the main character. Focus on the lady in red.
Right. Well, that's
And with
it.
him,
That's what you do.
yeah, and with him, I like how like okay, it's like his skin and his hair and everything is just like a solid like purplish bluish tint to it,
Right. Yeah, well, it's almost like the whole find the red queen thing. Like it's
Mhm,
like,
for sure.
three card Monty. So just
Yeah.
a
I
cool.
think I don't know if it's like StreamYard, but yeah, a lot of technical difficulties from what I've seen from other people's shows as well.
Yeah.
But it's probably
Cold.
like, yeah, it's the weather.
That's what I say anyway.
But yeah, really nice work. And now we pretty much see one of the other artifacts that was in that whole lockup area when they threw the carousel in there, and that was the music box here.
Yep.
And we don't know what exactly is wrong with the music box, but she finds it beautiful. So of course, just she touches it,
Yep.
and you know she's drawn by it, and that's pretty much what it is. That with all these artifacts, hell goes after your deepest, darkest desires sometime, and then turns your most beautiful desires into the most horrifying things you could ever imagine.
Yeah. This in all honesty, guys, like this is where the book started to disconnect from me.
Oh,
Um
did you? But read that dialogue there.
by all means, the damn thing's already broken. I've tried having it restored, but no one can figure out how to open it. And though I can't tell you what song it's supposed to play, I can tell you that it's French, handcrafted in the mid 18th century by a toy maker named Lamarchand, and most importantly, very expensive.
Lamar Chan is the guy who made it, the box. So also the toy maker also made all these different artifacts.
Ah, I see. I see. Again,
Yeah, because
like
yeah, because
that's a cool little detail.
yeah, because the box is called the Lament configuration,
Yep.
and the name is almost exactly similar. So literally, it's one of those things that before the box was probably made as a main portal, these were probably like temporary portals to hell that he made from the past. So yeah,
Right. Trying to get the system right. Trying to
yeah.
get, perfect
Hmm.
the portal.
No, there's the Hellraiser cubes are different things. It's more that puzzle that you see. These are just like pretty much artifacts that could open up other gates to hell.
Yeah.
Kind of like if you guys kind of like if you ever guys seen that movie Cabin in the Woods, where literally these people in the woods, once they touch a certain artifact, there's a creature that relates to that artifact. So if you blow in a seashell, you get like a mermaid man that'll kill you. Just really good movie. You have to go watch it. But yeah, just like the whole like backstory on like this these artifacts was made by the same person who made the box.
That's a cool info drop.
Mm-hmm.
You know, again, for somebody like me who is just trying to, you know, navigate this world, that makes it mean more.
Yeah.
That's a really cool way to display motion on top of a music box and a still
Yeah, right.
page. It's just such a cool
Right.
touch. Really,
You know,
really
just
cool.
make it move in different angles, but make it transparent and just don't have any other background, just a pure black background to make it shine. Just
Right.
really awesome stuff.
Yep. Yep. And again, just like the pulpit, like the woodwork in the
Mm-hmm.
actual box, like this inlay is, it's beautiful. Like it really is.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, how did you do that? I've been told I have a magic touch. I wonder what she meant about that. No.
Ah, wow. Hello.
And he's just like holding himself down there. It's like, how did he do that? No. And now she's like horrified. What's happening? No, the stories can't be true. And like literally she don't know, but the guy, he's like, okay, I know this artifact has like some demonic story behind it. And now look at that. That is, like I said, even if you do not like the story, the monster designs are like wicked.
Yeah, I love the gold effect on this monster.
Yeah.
It's almost steampunk, but
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
definitely not. It's horror, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just very like the gold is not what you would expect from a terrible monster, but it works. It does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's just cool because you literally see these gears like in this zombie. So it's kind of like a cyborg zombie almost.
Sure.
But yeah, just really awesome. And now literally you just have like this creature just facing the man. And it's like, okay, how is he going to kill this guy? And then look at that. He literally took his hand inside his chest and is now just squeezing it. And you get kind of like this almost this X-ray effect through the skin where you could literally see the bones in his hands and his rib cage and everything. Just a really cool effect.
Yep. Yeah. C3PO Terminator. Right. That's funny.
Yeah, so yeah, just really cool effect here. And it's like literally now you literally see how like the music box Cenobite is literally crushed in the guy's heart with gears.
Yep.
So really, you know, it's not like showing like too much graphic, but it's showing like the heart between gears and it's just setting that mood.
Yep.
And now this part of this, like out of all these stories, this story was probably like the most sad story for me because you know what's coming up next.
This is where and I'm sure you probably knew, like, this is where I just was like, I'm good. I'm all good on this book now. Like,
yeah, because now literally you see that she's like, please don't. I haven't even lived yet. And the guy's like, you will, but forever without the sweet song of your child's voice. And she's like, what? And literally, you know, she says what? Because she's pregnant and she doesn't know about it.
Yep.
So what does this guy do? He's reaching for her. And literally you see the embryo within her womb.
I felt like that for me, it was over the line. Like, I didn't really need to experience it in a comic.
No.
I didn't like it. I couldn't really set it aside and like explain it away.
Yeah.
It immediately, like, I was immediately disconnected. I didn't like
it. It probably went past like that gore. even for me that I just don't like, especially when it comes to like, you know,
Yep.
I'll go to the next page, but yeah, you literally see like
Yeah.
the baby's
No.
fetus that's being grilled in the grinds there, where you
Yep.
see the hand and everything. So yeah, just gonna go on to the next page. Ain't gonna talk too much about it, but
Yeah,
yeah,
no, I don't have much
that
to say. I don't. I
yeah,
don't really. I didn't really care for it. It did not.
it
It
went
didn't do any
it went
favors.
to the it went to that horror that we've talked about that we don't like, where it's like that hostile horror where it's
Yep.
just gore and it hits home,
Yep.
in a way. So yeah,
It's it's not necessary.
no,
And
no.
I think that everybody is allowed to tell any story that they want to
Mhm.
tell, but this is 1,000% not for me. It's I don't condone it. I don't really get why it's there. I don't get
Yeah.
what the purpose of it is. I think that for a writer the caliber of Clive Barker,
Mhm.
there's 1,001 scary things that you can do.
Yeah.
But it's no. I'm all set
Well, it's
on
like
it.
you could have showed him just stick his hand in there and have it indicated that he killed the baby instead of going into such graphic
I
details.
tell you, with all the close-ups they did on these people who didn't really like at the time in the story didn't really matter to us last week.
Mhm.
This is easily something that could have carried more weight if it had
Yeah.
just been a part of the conversation. If she had been in seance
Mhm.
and talked to her child, um, that these monsters took from her. We never needed to see that. Like what happens now? What do
And now
you
you could actually relate because this is the same woman who was pretty much telling that young kid, calm down. She
Yeah,
was the
but
exact same woman, and that's why she was so sad when she saw that child killed,
yeah,
because it's like, I couldn't even save my child, and I couldn't even now save this child.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, yeah. And like I said, this is like one of those stories that's very graphic. It's like one of those like hostile scenes. So
It's
pretty
graphic
much,
for no reason. It's graphic
yeah,
for no reason, and it's like, yeah,
yeah,
man. Like I don't even really want to go into these next
yeah,
pages. Like
mhm,
I felt like it was weak. I felt like
yeah,
this went on way too long. I felt
mhm,
like that. What does your dialogue matter if you're going to have these effing visuals?
yeah,
It didn't really fit. I didn't like it. I
mhm.
felt like I felt like it was weak storytelling
Yeah. I
on
mean
top of just
the
being
stairwell.
gratuitous.
I mean, the stairwell scene here is a really nice design, but the whole thing that me and you are trying to get at is like, okay, you killed the baby with the with the whole gears, and literally you saw the blood coming down from, you know, below, and now you just showed the whole scene of her running through the whole place, bleeding to death. Not necessary. So yeah,
No, no, I didn't really want to talk about it, but I'm glad we
yeah.
did because I wanted to say that this was shitty. Like
Hmm.
I kind of wanted to say it was shitty at the end of it all.
No,
Um,
I agree. I agree.
the few things that were because that's the frustrating part is like this chapter started out almost like pulling you back. It almost pulled you back
Hmm.
in because I was very disconnected after the zero issue. Like I liked that
Yeah.
one and
Hmm.
two, and the beginning of this chapter was strong. It started to recall some of that stuff that you
Yeah.
saw in the beginning, and
Hmm.
then for no necessary discernible reason, it just it went overboard. And then
But that's
I feel like
why
overboard is an understatement, but
no, but
it did
that's
do
a
that.
lot of reasons why people say in horror movies you shouldn't have like horror movies where it shows a child dying or it shows a child being harmed in any way, because it does have like that emotion effect on you where children are innocent, and just something like that you don't want to see.
Here's the thing though, Ronnie. You can elicit emotion.
Yeah.
You can elicit emotion, but this came out of nowhere. There has not been any part of this story where
Hmm.
Pinhead was like, "We need a child. We need an
Yeah.
unborn child to complete objective A, B, and C." It was just here. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, this chapter is ramping up.
Hmm.
Now, what can we do? And you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Like you failed. So
Hmm.
I don't know.
Which
Like,
with the next story where we do
and
have where we have the brothers, that was a more of a storyline there. You know what I'm
and
talking about.
also it's like, yeah, but like, where do you go? Like, and again, I
Yeah.
haven't read anything. I don't read ahead with this because I'm trying
Hmm.
to enjoy the ride of this being a new experience and
Yeah.
sharing it as it unfolds.
Hmm.
But if this is 500 pages total, and on page 23 you do this, like, where do you go? What's gonna
Yeah.
happen next? You
Yeah.
gonna change your car, change the oil on a 71 Volkswagen? Like, where do you go? Like, there's
Hmm.
nothing makes sense anymore. So I don't know. Maybe I'm
Oh
sleepy.
yeah.
Maybe I need a nap,
No.
but I don't
And
think so.
and to the Hellraiser issues, like we were talking before, this is what had Frank said. I think if you do Hellraiser issue every few months and break it up so you don't burn out on 20 issues.
What do you do if you're burned out already, though, Frank? Where do I go from here? Because damn, I don't really want. This sucks, man. Like, that made me sad. Like, it made me
Yeah.
mad. It made me sad, and
Hmm.
it was for no good reason. Shit.
Yeah. So pretty much now I was a mother once. Granted, I didn't bleed for it. I was bore nothing, but I loved her. I cared for her as a mother would. Her name was Tiffany, and I know what I would want if she were taken from me. So revenge. And yeah. And now we go to back to the man just talking about vengeance is a fine motivator, death, a excellent beginning, but not all stories start at the pretty much talking about going into the next one. And next
Yep.
one, yeah, I could see more of a storyline here. And it has more of an interesting storyline. Now we have the Alexander Prince, which, if I'm not mistaken, I think it is this
What's that?
public speaker guy.
Oh, I
Maybe
see.
it is. I know now we have the lady Cenobite, not Hellraiser himself, but we have the lady, and we pretty much have, like, I guess Alexander here being young, and he's trying to save his little brother, who's like pretty much like just got sucked into the box, and you see his hand just coming out. But this scene is just really little bits of red there, and just yeah.
I like Zombie versus Mars bots better. I mean, Dinosaurs versus Mars bots better.
And like with the dialogue here, yeah, I agree. Now here we're pretty much having like your brother's with us now, safe and unharmed for the moment. He keeps even more rare. Talking to him, the objects of hell are phantasm carried by current and fickle fingers. They will find you. You will move them like pawns, and pretty much like that's what it is. Like the man who gave us the toy. So yeah, literally, the toy was the box. Oh wow!
Right.
Wait, what happened? What happened?
Something that should
There
have
was an
happened
error.
a
Got to go back to my
long
books.
damn time ago.
Yeah. Do do do. more insight of what you're doing while I get the page up?
Yeah. I'm just kind of
Yeah.
doodling now. I didn't really want to. I had already read through this chapter, so I didn't really want to do much else with it. But
Mhm.
I guess I mean, damn, we're just kind of just doing the mini thing still. Um, we got some cool stuff coming out with that. Um, did you freeze? No, you didn't freeze. I can see you running. Um, but no,
What's that?
I
Oh
lost my
yeah.
train of thought. Um, man, I'm out of sorts. Clive Barker really did a whammy on me today, guys. But no, I guess I'll say this. I didn't like this story. I think you guys figured that out already, but
Hmm.
like I didn't
It
enjoy
started
it.
off strong,
It started
and
off,
then it
and
became weak.
I think that that's kind of what was the letdown. Was it did do the things that it needed to do. Like it should have started out slow, because for as long as this is as an entire project, but
Hmm.
I just it's easy to it's very hard for me to get back into something after they lost me like that. Especially considering how I'm reading this book. Like I said, I'm reading a page front and back and then starting over to kind of make sure I'm absorbing it the right way. But I didn't really want to do that over those 4 pages, because that was four
Hmm.
pages. And it was like, okay, I just gotta just muscle through it so that I can so that we can at least talk about it. And then I was like, no, you know what? Because I almost said, you know what, I don't even want to talk about it tonight. But I'm like, no, you know what? We're doing a service to people who love this type of horror. They know where to
Hmm.
find it. I don't know why, but they know where to find it. But at the same time, this is a good heads up for a lot of people too. Like I would have loved. I just didn't. I didn't like. I did. I don't think that baby death in a comic book for no reason has a place.
Yeah.
And I don't think that gruesome baby death
Hmm.
in a comic book has a place.
Hmm.
Because even the cool thing about horror for me and how I write horror, and I write some dark shit, but the
And
cool
I
thing
draw
about
some
horror,
dark shit.
yeah, the cool thing about horror is it's relatable the
Hmm.
harder you turn up the volume. And it's like it wants to pull you into these situations where it's like bad. Because it's always the douchebag that dies first in horror movies, like in
Yeah.
slasher horror movies. And
Hmm.
so you kind of identify for a second with the monster. And now you go on the journey of like, okay, nope, now the monster is bad.
Yeah.
But it's like this book, there's really there's no lasting solution. There's 5 Hellraiser movies, for crying out loud. Like there's no lasting solution to beat these things. And they just killed a baby like early on. And there's really not much you can do about it. So to that, I say thumbs down, whack, boo,
Hmm.
weak sauce. See, I never really read a ton of Marvel stuff. But that's not okay either. Like, and even still, I don't think that we saw. I don't think without seeing it, I don't think that we would have seen what we just saw in a Marvel
No.
Carnage
No.
story that's attached to a Spider-Man property or Wolverine. Wolverine lost his nose when he lost his adamantium, and that was like a weird. That was a weird,
Yeah.
a weird ride, and I could see
Hmm.
him like being like a weasel and eating eggs and stuff. But It wasn't like that, Rudy. I don't think it was.
Yeah.
So if it was, then I will gladly rip them books apart too. But
Hmm.
today it's Clive Barker's turn
Yeah.
to have to hear me rant, you know, from
Yeah.
beyond the grave.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
so
so
so going back now, Alex pretty much is like doing service for Hellraiser
yep.
while his brother's just locked away, and his brother is like giving artifacts to all these people. It's like it's a Barbie, it's a toy for your daughter, it's very very old. I'm like, he's literally giving toys that have demonic possessions to like innocent children and to innocent people. And literally, there he is, 1994. He was the man that actually gave the snow globe to Marcus to make him doubt his faith. So now all the stories are coming together here to see like how these artifacts came into place. And now it's like 1995. Happy birthday, David. You would have been 15 today. And his brothers just tell him, Alex, you have to stop. You're hurting people. So it's really
Oh
like,
my god, man. This
you know,
book, man. Shit.
really.
A whole baby.
Oh, wasn't the Incredible Hulk baby? Wasn't that what it was? It was the one of the Hulk babies. But yeah, crazy stuff here. It's like his brother's just telling him, you got to stop hurting people, and he doesn't care at this point. All he cares about is his brother that he loves, and he doesn't care how many people he's hurting in the
Oh
process.
yeah,
And you pretty much see here,
he's just moving through life.
yeah, pretty much. And now he's like 2000. I'm finally a doctor, David. I figured if I can just help people when maybe, just maybe I can be, I'm so scared, Alex, so tired. There are monsters in the dark feeding. Please forget me. But I do all this for you, David. I miss you so much every day. How could I forget? And now we see the carousel. And now you can see that he's literally, oh my gosh, is that this may be the last time? So all they say until the scars healed. So literally, he just slept with the woman, and I'll left you a gift. May you get from it. So literally, he's just lining up all the toys up in place, and now you just see these people getting suffered. And here's that one guy that was literally with the girl who lost her baby with the whole jewelry box. And this was 2005. So you could literally see the puzzle just setting up right in front of us.
Hey, Rude. Here, I guess this is what I'll say. Fallbreaker Studios, Jason Alexander. I disavow any intellectual properties that eat children. It's not. I will never write these characters to eat babies. Um,
Yeah, as me as a horror writer and artist, I definitely will focus away from like any child, like,
and
you
I'll scare y'all.
know,
I will scare
fear.
you,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to. I won't hurt a baby. I won't. I
Hmm.
won't. And it's just. It's not
Like
necessary.
there's ways to indicate that, okay, I'm gonna kill this person who hurt this child.
Implication.
Yeah,
Yeah,
implication. You
implication
could you could
is
pretty
fine.
much pretty much you could show implication that this kid was killed because of this person in a horror comic, but you don't have to go into detail about it.
Yeah, I mean, look at Law and Order. Law and Order SVU has a lot of,
Hmm.
and I'm not trying to get too far off topic, but
Hmm.
Law and Order SVU has a lot of cases that involve children being murdered or children being hurt. But I've never once felt like it was okay. Now you've done too much. Even like some of the HBO shows, like True
Hmm.
Detective, I never really felt like it went overboard. And maybe this would have been different had it been like in that motion picture
Yeah.
scape. Number one, I don't think that they would have. I think that it would have been a completely different scene. But we live on these pages. Like you have to live on a page. They don't. They don't really move unless we move them. And like with a horror movie, when you get boom, you can do this. You know what I mean? Like you do this for a second. I watched Midsummer the other day, and there was a part Midsummer where I just turned my head away from for a second, but
Oh
I was
yeah.
listening, and
Hmm.
then you listen and you hear the scene change. We don't work like that because we're
Hmm.
looking at these pages like we're consumers and we're
Hmm.
students and we love other people's art. And so, and this artwork is really good. So there's reasons for your eyes, even now, if you don't even want them to, there's reasons for your eyes to get locked on a page.
Yeah.
These are not the things that I want to get locked on a page with. This is not what I want to get locked in
Hmm.
a room with. Because now, the first 5 pages, how much we talked about
I
how
agree.
good
True
the
Detective
writing,
was great.
yeah, like how we talked about how good the writing was.
Hmm.
Man, like even now, like in full review mode, I don't give a hoot nanny boohoo what any of these words are. Because
Hmm.
now not only did we go from a baby dying in utero to a woman like actively running and bleeding. Now
From the
we've
miscarriage.
yeah, now we've gone through 3 pages of this little boy chained up.
Hmm.
I mean, come on, you got like hell beings here. You
And like
can't you can't
and like he's
scare
saying
me.
from the dialogue, like 12, 20 years, David, 2 decades passed by in a blink. I brought you back here to the forest where you love to play. I'm dead, Alex. If you love me, let me die. And that's pretty much what he's like. He's like, I've been in that place for 20 years, just being scared to death. Probably at one point hoping that he was going to be set free, but now he gave up all hope. And even
Yep.
though it's been 20 years, he still has that childlike mind because in hell, there is no time and there is no history. So he was just pretty much stayed in that fragile state.
Yep.
And now you just have like the female Cenobite just now giving him the box, and it's like passing, like you got to do your last test, and you see these kids, doing the merry-go-round or Life is But a Dream, which I'm not mistaken. I heard that there's a dark story behind that song. Or no,
Yeah.
is it
No,
Mary
Ring
Mary
Around
or
the
Sunshine?
Roses.
Yeah,
Ring
yeah,
Around the
hmm,
Roses is the one that had a really dark
yeah,
story. It was
yeah.
about some kids dying of some illness.
Hmm.
But row your boat could be pretty scary for me because my ass can't swim. So better row.
I could swim. I could swim. Yeah. So now we just have this moment where it's like making the last decision. Like, am I going to give this box to these kids or am I just going to give up? And yeah, it's
He should have
in
gave
the
up.
end. In the end, he makes the right choice, but he
Yeah,
should
how
have
do
made the
we
right
get
choice
here?
a
He
long
should have made it
time
a long
ago.
time ago.
Exactly. And now he's like, no, kids, this isn't playing thing anymore. And it's like, once he gave up,
Yeah,
once he,
he's like now let me put you in the back of this car and I'm gonna put a brick on the gas pedal and just let it go down the road because
and
why not?
and that was the thing that they made the agreement with. We're not going to hurt your brother if you do what we say. And now there it is. He crossed the line and didn't do what he did. So now his brother's literally roasting to death. You know, yeah. I mean, it's a horrific scene. I mean, the artwork is well done, but yeah,
This is my first 1-star review.
yeah. And now we see David meeting up with you know, Bethany or with the main character from the first two movies, and now you pretty see like how everyone came together, and
Yep.
now they're like literally a a hell busting team.
You
Yeah,
know what this
Christy,
is? You know what this is like, Ronnie? It's
what's
like,
that?
so the second chapter was I had a hard time following the
Mhm.
group. And it's like I wanted to be very I wanted to kind of be I started kind of to lose it at this point
Yeah.
with the book, but it's like this story at parts felt like it tried to make me feel bad for discounting this story. Like it tried to make me feel bad for not getting into the group.
Hmm.
And had there was 9 pages that they could have devoted to like really getting into these stories, into
Hmm.
these backstories. They could have done storylines for all of these because had it not followed the baby, even even this last one, like you said earlier, it felt more like a story. I
Yeah,
feel
it
like
had more meaning
you
behind it.
could, yeah, you could have roped that in a little
It's
bit
like
more
either
because
you either do what I say or your brother's going to be torn apart.
and that would have worked.
Hmm.
But when you remove somebody from a story and then you inject this on top of it, man, it's hard. Like it's
Yeah,
hard to really want to enjoy it. Like I
for
didn't
sure.
enjoy this story even though I liked parts of it. I
Hmm.
didn't enjoy it. I won't go back and read this chapter. No way. I don't really
Yeah,
want to read the next chapter because I don't want to get I don't want to get baby on me no more. Like
yeah.
no good.
And so pretty much now the guy's done with his whole speech, and now he's given the box. And pretty much now the preacher, I mean the farmer, pretty much like it's like here, this is what I got for you, and just having like a whole dialogue. You talk a great game about stories, Edgar. Ask your wifey to be. Ask Christy. She knows this story, just not how it ends. And yeah, and he's like, wait, come back. How do you know her? And now he's just taking a taxi drive. And yeah, it gets pretty graphic here. And it's like he's opened the limit configuration box, and the driver's just taking them to the airport, and then you have the static electricity lightning, and then a whole like great just angle shots here with the whole taxi cars and the bridge and the lightning effect, and now you just see the chain shoot out and just pierce right through the taxi driver, and Pinhead is right there just looking like, hey, what's up? And he's like, you stood in the dream sea. So it's like he has an idea of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and you're back listening to the girl at the rock show as the music plays on and on. And literally, it looks like, I think that the fiance is dead. I don't know at this point, but literally you could see the card like literally dangling in the sky, like from the chains. Just really wicked angle scene and nice artwork effect here. And yeah, that ends chapter 3 into chapter 4, the last chapter.
Good riddance. Ugh. I didn't like this book, Ronnie. You took me down a bad road.
Hey, we always got to review, not all books are good.
Yep, we do it.
I mean,
Yes.
we still have the last chapter, and even with the last chapter there's 20 issues, so who knows if it gets any better. We don't know, but will we continue with the other chapters? Probably at some point, but not right away. Will give us time to like go to other books and look at other stories, because you know we don't want to just keep on going down the same rabbit hole with the one series.
Not when there's so many other horror stories out there.
Yeah,
And we do we do this.
yeah.
So it's like, no, this is what we should be. We should mix it up. I'm ready. But
Yeah.
you know,
So I
show
would
must go
say
on.
I would say like for the artwork is stunning. Don't get me wrong. The
Yeah.
artwork is definitely an 8 for the stunning, but with the story, it definitely is like a 2 for me.
I think a 2 is perfect. I'll give it a 2 because
Like the priest story, I I thought was great and it was a nice setup, and then they just had to throw in the whole baby scene there.
yeah, and it went on and on and on. Like
Mhm.
just
Yeah,
we I'm gonna
like
go.
literally, you literally could have just showed that after the baby got killed, she passed out in the apartment, and
You saw what the guy did
yeah,
to the man's heart.
hmm
If you can show him approaching this woman and telling her that she's pregnant and then cut the scene.
yeah,
Maybe the bloody staircase at that point works. He's talking about 30 days a night.
yeah,
Um that would have made that whole thing work. And it also would have shortened it, which
hmm
means we would have gotten back to story quicker than just these pages of not horror, but
oh yeah, when
horrifying imagery.
Root how Root's talking about 30 Days of Night graphic by
Yep.
Steve Niles. You know who
Yep.
Steve Niles is, right? He was the writer for the Frankenstein Alive.
Oh no way. That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure.
We'll throw that in. I
Yeah.
think I've seen the first movie. I don't
Yeah,
think
the
I've
movie
ever
was
read the
really
comic.
good.
I
Yeah.
remember I remember seeing pictures of the comic like in Wizard
Mhm.
magazine and stuff, and I always
Yeah.
thought the artwork looked cool. But no, I'm in to review that.
So yeah, we'll come back next week finishing up chapter 4 of this, and then we'll just go straight to doing probably 30 days and 30 nights, 30 days of night, and just step away from the Hellraiser saga, because I mean, it was one of those things that it wasn't going to be like a 8 out of 10 for me after the whole book was done. It was probably going to be like a 6 or 7 overall, but definitely with this scene here, it's like, you went way beyond what you should have. So,
Yeah, it's a it's a laborious read because it
mhm.
is so like dialogue intensive, and so I really the artwork met it, but this is a
even the pace,
perfect.
even the pacing kind of seemed more of a more like a novel instead of a comic.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of saying you can have great art and good writing and still not have a good story,
Hmm.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm ready to go to bed.
Well, do you want to plug anything?
No,
I'll plug in this for you.
yeah, hit the minis. I don't really want to gush over the minis like after baby death. Like it just kind of pull me way
Yeah,
down. But
gotcha.
no, like my mini comics do not include baby death. We don't condone it.
Mhm.
But we do horror. We do big action. We do big sci-fi. Like I got some right here. Like small and mighty guys. Like we're on our fourth volume of these. The fifth volume is coming soon. We got web comics coming. So do check out the minis. It's proper. It's proper eye bleach. It's proper brain bleach. It gives you a chance to unplug after you had an electronic device in your hand all day to sit down and read a comic printed on
Mhm.
newsprint is a pretty good vibe. So check them out. What you
For
got,
sure.
Ronnie?
Well, this coming up weekend, I'm going to. If you check out on my Instagram, I'll have for February's holiday, Valentine's Day. The Valentine's art for the calendar. So yeah, look out for that, and yeah, just keep out on Instagram too. Be posting a lot of pages of my horror comic. Got like the 1800s style art going on right now. So yeah,
So the cool thing about comics, that was the last thing I'll say, and I'm gonna go to bed. The cool thing about comics is there's a lot of opinions in our world, and there's a lot of people who complain about this or don't like that. Kind of like what I'm doing tonight. But the gift that we have is with paper and pencil, we can write something that we like to
amen.
counteract something that we didn't like.
Yeah.
We can control that. And
Mhm.
so that's what I'm going to do. Like I'm going to continue to write good ass horror that people can enjoy and people can
You
be
don't always
scared.
need gore with horror. There's
And
psychological horror out there.
exactly, it can
That's
be
sometimes even worse than the gore.
amen. It can be more. It can be more than rated R. It can
Mhm.
be past a rated R movie, and you don't have to spill a drop of blood. But do if you
Oh,
want to
really? I
do
did not know that.
just they kind of want a little from. Oh, I didn't know that. Guess I do now. We won't
Right.
be reviewing that book either.
No.
No. Yeah. So, man, damn. All right, man. Rude, man. Like you trying to do it. Like you trying to make it sad.
Right.
I
Well,
gotta go. I
rude,
should have went to
rude,
bed
and
5 minutes ago.
right, rude, whoever else is in the chat. Thank you for watching, supporting the channel. Give us a like.
Yeah,
Tell your friends about us. Thank you all. I'm just happy that this show is growing and so many people are coming by to watch it. So
yeah.
yeah,
Rude.
thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
stopping by. Yeah, like we have fun. Like I don't. I'm not a vicious. I'm not viciously disagreeing with you. But no, it's like this is cool. Like these books exist, and so we can all have our own opinions on them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, I'm on Instagram, Fallbreaker Studios, and yeah, I lived, I was in a cult, so I lived psychological horror. So
yeah.
I talk about that a lot on my Instagram too. So, man, y'all be good,
All right.
have
Peace.
fun, tell scary
Take
stories,
take
tell
care,
fun
everyone.
stories, be good.